Welcome to our next session of our Wix Partner Spotlight. Very excited to have Thomas from Mango Digital joining us today. Mango Digital is a strategic marketing agency based in Ontario. We have Thomas, the founder, joining. Thomas joined the Wix Partner Program New Year's Eve 2020. Shout out to Eric Cohen, and has come a long way since then. He started as a full-time freelancer, just himself, and now, just 7 months later, has a team of 4 and has crossed some really interesting and exciting milestones in the last few months. So, Thomas, we're really excited to have you joining us today to give us your expertise and experience on Wix. So first off, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here and been looking forward to it. And yeah, let's get right into it.
Yeah, so you're an entrepreneur at heart. You shared that before we spoke in the session. So tell us a little bit more about Mango Digital and what sparked this agency.
Yeah, so I think, like you said, I've been an entrepreneur at heart. You know, when I was young, like 10 years old, starting my own lawn care business, and then moving from that to start 2 other businesses that were in my college, and those kind of failed. And it's kind of typical of entrepreneurs where they try a few things and then something works. So I say it's kind of a journey, an entrepreneurial journey, because it's been 6 years or so, but it's been jumping from one thing to another, and like finally something sticks. And then with Mango Digital, I went to school for digital marketing. I was like got to know a lot of people within that network and in my school, and then they started to give me a lot of opportunities because people were knowing me and said, oh, Thomas is good at that, Thomas can do that. So it started out like freelancing, and then hopping on the Wix platform, and then getting some actual tangible leads. Cold calling was working, and it was starting to go on track, and then the Wix opportunity came, and then it was go time, basically.
Yeah, so you've obviously gotten to know Wix very well over the last 7 months, but let's take a step back to winter of 2020. Tell us about your experience with Wix at that time, before you joined the partner program.
Yeah, for sure. So I started, before I even used Wix, it was always known to me as like a do-it-yourself kind of builder. And I didn't know really much more than that. And I just thought it lacked a lot of features maybe that I would need for my clients. And then the funny thing is, like, you actually start working with clients and you hear their pain points, objections, their concerns. And then one of the concerns was, for example, WordPress, to the client, it was too messy, like 12 different plugins. Something's out of date, they message us, can I update it, or it's going to break the site? And so it was a lot of that going on. And then so I had a few mentors like at the time, and still talk to them today, and they were kind of saying, like, one of them said to me, like, have you tried Wix and just like doing something on there and just making it like super simple? And like, I was like, well, I'll look into it. And then I looked into it, and it was super simple, and it was super easy to pass off to a client because it's not some scary back end. It's like very user friendly, like just a friendly software that anyone could use. And then from there, just started using it almost exclusively unless a client requested otherwise. And so that was kind of my experience beforehand, and then how I kind of got on doing some stuff actually on Wix.
So we talked to a lot of people just like you who are building on multiple platforms. So could you tell us how you decide where to build a client site, whether it's WordPress or Wix?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, for sure. I mean, my thought process is like, what value am I providing to the client at the end of the day when I'm giving them this product, really, or like this package? So when I look at WordPress versus in terms of like Wix, like which one am I going to go with? I mean, automatically it's defaulting to Wix at this point, just because like if you're giving a client, yeah, like some deliverable, you're still responsible for that. And so if a client comes back and you're, for example, using WordPress and, you know, like, yeah, a plugin just stops working. It's a third party plugin. You're not even responsible. Like, who do you contact for that? Who's the client contact? Is that you or is it that them? You know, and then whereas Wix, it's like we as an agency just know, like, just pass it off to them. If they have concerns, there's 24/7 Wix customer support. They can reach out to us if they want advanced support, because that's one of the agency benefits like that we get. So all of that stuff that we can then use to fuel our sales, because it's like, oh, a question we get all the time is, how do you manage the site? Do I do it or you? And it's like, well, this is just so easy. No one has to manage it. Like, just, you can go in, if you want to change a photo, just change the photo. It's that simple. And, you know, if something more complex comes up, like you need some advanced functionality, then just call us and we can, you know, work on that. But other than that, it's, you know, like that's kind of where our head's at. And like Wix provides so many things, I think, that add value for the agency that then can fuel their sales team to be like, oh, that you also get the CRM, you also get the social media marketing tools, you also get the email marketing tools. So that's kind of how decide usually. And then it's, if a customer requests it, sometimes Wix will lack certain features, like very specific things. And so that's when it's like, okay, now WordPress is a discussion, but it's like a give and take. It's like, you have all these plugins now, but you get that functionality, but you're having all these plugins. Or you go to Wix and you don't get maybe all the functionality that you want now, but they may do it in the future and it's a little easier. So it's give and take there.
So you're this full-time freelancer, you start building more on Wix. How did you first learn of the partner program and what resonated in those initial conversations with you?
Yeah, sure. To be honest, I mean, I was on Wix and I had 5 sites or like 4 sites at that time, and Eric called and he reached out actually to me and it was like, oh, you know about this Wix Partner Program? I was like, no, I don't know about this. I've just seen like a little thing on the page. I was like, I don't know what that is. And it's like, oh, let me tell you about it. And I think he said something like, you can expect 80 leads per month. And I was like, what? So that was the initial thing that caught my ear. I was like, 80 leads coming, like that's insane. You know, that's, even if you look at like Facebook ads and like running those, like you don't, some of the numbers you see are like, to get 80 leads in a month, you'd be spending a significant amount of money, or, you know, having a really great campaign or something like that, you know. So that was definitely what perked my ears initially, because it was like, you know, it's really is a partner program. It's like not just a, you know, fake partner program where you get all these cool bells and whistles, but it's like, okay, what do I do with all this if I don't have any people to serve, right? So that was the main portion of it for myself. And then I did like some of like the tools that were available to, like, you get all the send tools, which is great for like actually just running the business and doing invoicing and all that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, so the leads certainly caught your eye, but I'm curious now, if you were to look at your partner dashboard, which tools or features do you find yourself using the most and super ingrained in your process?
Interesting. Yeah, like I said, definitely quoting and invoicing is used like almost every day. What else? Like just the dashboard, like keeping up on things, like obviously like the marketplace, checking in on leads, making sure we're accepting them. Right now, like I don't do that myself anymore, so that's kind of like something that's different now, because I have a team of 4, where before I go in and check all the leads, where now someone just does that for me and I'm just the one usually calling them. But so that's something there. And yeah, mainly just client billing, like just on that every day. Like our whole like finance is done through that, and like QuickBooks Online. Those two things is like all of our finance. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just mentioned how you've been able to take some of these processes and move them off to other people as you've grown your team. So tell us a little bit over the last few months, some milestones that you and the team have hit and processes that you've implemented.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey. I mean, like within Mango Digital, like 6-7 months of coming on here, we scaled it to like doing over 10,000 in revenue and like hiring, you know,
Per
for
month.
yeah, 10,000 per month in revenue within 6 months of joining. So like that's just nuts. Like, you know, and so when you have that much business coming through, you need people to actually deliver it. And so that's something I think for agency partners to think about, or someone who wants to become an agency partner, is like, what level do you want to grow at? Like, do you want to be an agency or do you want to just be a freelancer? Because those are two different things. The freelancer is doing the work themselves, you know, building the sites, doing the SEO, where, you know, an agency, like if you're going to become an owner, so you're going to be managing employees, you're going to be doing the hiring, the accounting, you know, anything that, you know, needs to be done, the HR, like, you know, there's conversations, you know, just recently I overhired in my business. And so I had to let 2 people go. And so if that doesn't sound like fun for you, which it's not really fun for anyone, but to me, I just like running a business. So I'm just a weirdo, and I like all sorts of things that entrepreneur and like business throws at you. But I think that's something to consider for new partners, definitely. And then, you know, some of the processes that we've taken on board is like, once you have all these projects coming in, you have to actually deliver on them. And, you know, that's really tough because you have to get great people working, you know, and so that's one side of things. And then once you actually get great people working on things, it's like, okay, so, you know, what do I do and when, and like, how do I organize it? And so things like, you know, like some project management tools definitely help with that, but also like we developed a lot of hard assets within the business. Like, for example, we have SEO plans now that before we would just talk about it, but now it's like we have a full written out package, and it says like exactly what we're going to do and breaks down month by month and like covers a whole year of stuff that we're going to do. So like adding a bunch of, you know, digital assets like that and these processes that we're following definitely has helped, and like kind of managing everything.
So on that, if there was one process that you had to have or recommend a new partner implement, what would it be?
Good question. I'm gonna say sales. That's immediate. Like that's right off the top. I find so many like new businesses or like people starting out, they just forget sales. I mean, I think like being an entrepreneur, you're really a salesperson with an idea, and so you have to sell like your service, right? And so like you need a clear process of reaching out, but not just reaching out once. You need to reach out to them 5, 6, 7 times in different ways, maybe a text, a call, an email. You're going to need to sequence that out and like automate it the ways you can. You know, there's also things like scripts. Like that's something that a lot of, I think new people to the industry kind of even like forget, because maybe you hop on a call and, you know, you realize someone has this objection that you've never heard before, and it's like, okay, how do I answer that? And so like having a place where you can write down all your objections and how you would respond to that definitely helps. So I think, you know, like that's number one. Like you need to actually get the sales. So I'd definitely develop a sales process. There's tons of YouTube videos out there. I'm sure there's Wix stuff that could help as well. I'm sure of it. So there's tons of resources out there for people to learn about that stuff. And And then when you get sales coming in, you can worry about delivering, but that's the next battle after
So
that.
I want to hear now a specific client story and bonus points if it's a Wix versus WordPress example. But do you have any specific client success stories that you'd love to share with the team?
For sure, for sure. I mean, we just had this recent, like we launched their site, I think a month and a half ago, maybe, or a month ago. And I mean, the results they saw were just insane. And, you know, so Mango Digital has started working with a business that's in immigration medical exams. This guy is, he's a really smart guy, really savvy, been in position for quite a while. So he's established. He knew what he kind of wanted and gave us some freedom to do what we do best. And so
And how'd you
I
find
think
him?
that's through the Wix marketplace. Yeah. And for him, that's kind of what led to his success too, is he had his business model figured out a little bit, right? So that helped us do some great work. And so within the first 30 days, he received 2,252 unique site visitors, 324 orders, over 8,000 in revenue, 616 leads, 293 customers, and 323 bookings. So like, that's insane. Like that's, yeah, nuts. I've never,
Wow.
yeah.
Congrats. So you clearly found him on the through the Wix marketplace. I'm curious, how did you position your offering to him on Wix? Did you put a package together leveraging some of the Ascend tools, or what did the actual sales process in this specific case look like for you?
Interesting. So yeah, I think that with him in particular, you know, he was really looking for a consultative approach, and he had a lot of ideas in his head that needed to be kind of cleared up. And so like, how do you get a physician's office like online? And there's very specific things and criteria that they have to go through because it's dealing with immigration. So there's certain things they have to report, certain passports they need to collect, and all these things. So it was like spending, you know, we probably spent 2 45-minute sessions plus an initial discovery call, like going through and just sorting out all these details. And then really, I think, you know, that alone put us in a place where he knew we cared. It was just a genuine conversation. And so we kind of won the business, you know, primarily off that. We didn't actually have too much, you know, solid competition with him. Just finding who we got paired with, I guess, or who he was paired with, kind of gave us that opportunity a little easier. And then plus, you know, really focusing on the business objectives. Like that's always where we bring things back to. It's like, yes, you want to get a new site, but why are you doing this? Let's get to the root cause of like this whole thing and then work from there. Okay, you want to save time because of this, or like you want more customers because of this. You want more email subscriptions because of this. So that's kind of how we positioned ourselves and how we're able to win that deal.
And when you use that approach, do you find it's a different sale or package offering if it's Wix versus another platform?
Yeah, it's totally different. I mean, like one of the reasons why Mango Digital uses Wix is because, and this is almost a new thing to Wix, is now it's becoming this all-in-one tool. And that allowed us to offer that, and for such an affordable price. Because if we were to compare that with, say, a WordPress offer, like we would have to then figure out all the plugins, figure out their benefits, their weaknesses, all this, explain it to him. He decides which plugins, or like we recommend them. And it would just get so complex. And it's like, okay, now there's $400 in charges per year, per month, or whatever it is, just for all these additional plugins, plus hosting, plus this. And it's like, it just makes the whole thing a mess, where it's like, you know, Wix is that all-in-one solution where you can do the bookings, you can do email automations, you can do accounts, you can do refunds and payment processing, and like all of it in one like simple place. So if a question comes up like, you know, do I have to pay more for this like thing? It's like, no, it's already there. You know, this is just part of it. I mean, we will charge you to set it up and integrate and then design it and do all that. But if there's no monthly ongoing fee or anything like that, it's all included in your one price. And so that's why I say, like, for us, Wix is just a no-brainer. Like for Mango Digital, Wix is a no-brainer because it's that simple, and also like the value, right, that we can pass on to the client, because this is like taking what your Wix is offering and then using that to our advantage by saying this is now value that we can pass on to you and use in our sales. And so if there's those objections that come up, even of, you know, what plugin and all this, it's like, no, we don't even have to go down that, you know, here's the answer to that and let's move on, you know. So that's I mean, it makes their job a lot easier.
Well, we're thrilled to hear that all the tools that we've built are valuable for you and your end client in that relationship. So thank you for sharing that. I want to open it up for other questions from the team, but I also want to ask you, and feel free to chat them as well, but I want to ask you, what has surprised you over these last 7 months, from joining as a full-time freelancer essentially, or as a one-man shop, to growing a team? What has surprised you, or something memorable about the last 7 or 8 months as you've taken this step to build this into an agency?
Well, yeah, I think I was really surprised by the fact that I think, you know, I don't want to say this all like to come off like I'm almost like it's not genuine, because it totally is. It's like Wix really cares, and like you can tell, and I really respect that about the company and how they listen to feedback. And they actually, like, I think the CEO said something like, we want our agencies to grow with us, something like that. And it's like, it's not just, you know, a lie, it's actually real. And so I think if, you know, you're a great Wix partner to Wix, and, you know, the other way around, they're a great partner to the agency, like then there's like amazing things can happen, right? So that's definitely been a surprise. And then there's other things like just business stuff, where it's like staffing was a huge surprise to me. Like, you know, it's having tough conversations with people, like to let them go from a job that they're using to have to pay their bills. I mean, that's a tough conversation to have with someone. So that things like that surprised me, of like just growing in my entrepreneur career, and like things like that coming up, or, you know, stuff with delivery too, of like, you know, you have web design and you need to deliver an amazing site, and it's not as easy as you'd think to find great people. So stuff like that as well.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Wix being open to feedback, and feeling a close connection to Wix, and thank you. And a great question from Rachel is, what feature do you want to see Wix build next, now that you're talking to obviously a bunch of Wix employees?
It's great. 31, oh my. Yeah, I think that there's so much. I mean, I'm often talking with Wix supports, like, and I'm like, why don't you guys have this feature? One of the things, I'll give you credit, one of the things was the team management stuff. It was great to see that released, in terms of the partner dashboard and things like that. I'd love to see like assigning sales, or assigning leads to people. But two things that are really important, I think, going forward, at least from using the software on a daily basis is like the roles I think need to be taken a look at. I'd love to see something done with that, just because I find with how they're currently structured, it's complex to find what you want. Like say a client's unsure about giving us access to their chat inbox. It's hard to just find a simple way to just be like, I don't want that shared. Like there is a way, but it feels very clunky almost. And there's also the concern of most of the time we need admin status on a site, but they'll be like, it says you're a co-owner of our site. We're not a co-owner. Like you're not a co-owner. You don't. When we've had to even write a document down that says like we're not a co-owner of your website. So we literally have that in our business that we send to clients. So I think having a roles and permissions that's like agency, I'm working with an agency partner, and they just click it and it gives like exactly what we need to do our work, I think would be hugely beneficial for both us and them, because it's like they can just trust that. And because we're not trying to scam anyone here, but that just gives them like that assurance. And then it makes this easier where we're not like, oh, we need this role, and then it turns out like there's a feature we can't access, so we need this role, and then we need this role, and we've had that happen a bunch of times. And then I'm really interested to see something that's related to the marketplace that would encourage almost, or like be for bigger businesses, that would be able to reach out and get help. Because Wix, I think, is growing from its DIY type of days. And I still think though there's reminiscence of that in terms of the consumer perception of Wix. And so when people reach out, let's say 40% of the time, 50% of the time, it's either a new business or personal project. And so as an agency, we want less of those, and at least where we're at now. And we want more of established businesses that are not so price conscious and are more like looking for high quality work. And so like having, possibly, I don't know if I go this far, but like almost like a Wix marketplace versus Editor X. And I wouldn't go that far, because I think there's still use cases for Wix, even for bigger companies. Let's say they want a quick landing page done up. I mean, the turnaround time on that for them is still like super useful, and it's more cost effective. So I think there's still options for big companies to use the typical Wix platform, but there's definitely like needs to be a place for like enterprise type of companies that are looking for more professional agency help. So
I
that
think
those are things, yeah.
this is
Go
awesome
ahead.
feedback, and I would recommend staying tuned. Two last questions for you, and then we'll let you go back to managing your team and growing and winning business. First is, did you check out any other partner type programs? I know you have experience building on Shopify, on Webflow, on WordPress, obviously Wix. Were there other programs that you looked into?
Yeah, I mean, every one of them. I mean, because that's obviously as an agency, like that's what we should be doing. I mean, at least to an extent, I think, well, that's why I said it. I genuinely mean like Wix cares, because that's the vibe. Like, I'm not just saying that off of nothing. It's actually my experience. I went to Shopify, I went to Webflow, I went to all the different places you can go. Even like SEM Rush and like MailChimp and like weird ones you wouldn't normally think of. And Wix actually like has the best partner program, because it's really like, it's not so much figured out in terms of like been there for a while and like have lots of things developed, but it's like in the sense of where it's coming from, it's like genuine. It's like we actually want to connect these agencies with potential customers, and like Whereas, you know, to my previous point, what I found some of the partner programs, it's like, you know, get, you know, branded things. And it's like, I mean, that doesn't help. And they call it like an agency growth kit. And you get like a little branded like report. And it's like, what is this? This is not nothing. Like I can build a report myself in 5 minutes. I don't need your branded tool to do that for an extra, you know, whatever, $200 a month or whatever, you know, a company's charging. So um, I think, I mean, that's my overall, and you know, Wix isn't perfect by any means, but there's, and no one can really like, so that's its own thing. But the listening, the feedback, um, it's like a startup mentality. Like it's a lot of things we do where it's like scrappy. It's like just get it done quick and like um, kind of do it and apologize later and listen to what people think, and then like, oh sorry, we didn't get this entirely right, so we fixed it for you. Like that's all the stuff that like we do at just a 4-person team, and like Wix is like, I'm guessing thousands of employees at this point. So like, yeah, I mean, that's my perspective. And like, for example, going to Shopify, um, just much more of a corporate vibe. Like I don't think Shopify would have me on a talk like this. Maybe they would have some agency that's having, you know, 100 people working there and has been on Shopify for years. And so I just think it's for people who want to get started, like, and if they think this is something that they want to do and want to give it a shot, I think Wix is a great place to start, and then just go from there and see where things go. And that's at least from my
So,
experience.
so last question while I have you, and perfect segue. What's next for Mango Digital?
Yeah, great question. So we were kind of talking about this before we got on as well, and I'm just saying to my team a lot that it's now going into like agency mode, like full agency mode, where before we were, you know, we would offer a service and we didn't have anything written down. Like a little thing like a case study goes a long way. Like we didn't have an actual client that we could say we got great results for. And now having a hard asset like that, and like hundreds of them now, just makes sales so much easier. So, and to that point though, it makes it easier when we're working deals or like helping people that have personal projects, new businesses, or early growth kind of stages. And then where we're looking for next is to work with bigger brands. Like my vision is to start working with Canadian brands like Molson and things like that. So it's, we're not anywhere near that, but that's where now we're trying to go. And for example, we had a client who came on and kind of gave us that Molson taste, but they weren't at that level, but they had those demands of like a company like that. And they went through our entire website and they were pointing out things, you know, and we haven't touched our website in a while. So now it's like making me realize we need to have an amazing website if we're building websites for other people. So like things like that. And then like portfolio, like we need to have like actual, you know, sites that we've built. And he said, hey, I want this amazing site. And I'm so excited because I'm like, this is the clients we want. We want to build an amazing site and, you know, have great images and content and all this stuff. And that was that client. But then when they're like, yeah, we want to make sure that you can do this and send us a website similar to it that we've done. And then we look around and all of our sites, like I told them, I was like, I don't want to send you anything because I feel like, you know, we're not there. And like, to be honest, we're small, but these are the projects that we've been wanting to do. And I offered them lower pricing and stuff like that, but still not able to capture that. So that's kind of where we're headed, just to, you know, really polish up our delivery, making sure we have all the, you know, hard assets in the business that any other agency that's established would. And just keep growing and solidify ourselves really as well, just really solidify ourselves as an agency in Canada.
Well, I want to thank you for joining. In 7.5, 8 months since joining, I'm sure you would admit you've come a long, long way. So we're excited to see what happens in another 7 months and see the first, I don't know about first, but a Molson Wix site in our future.
I would love that. That would be a dream. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, yeah, we've went from like Mango Digital's literally went from, in the last 6-7 months, 4 employees. We used to have 6 and we had a little hiring there and I had to, do my thing. But from just me freelancing to 4 people and doing 10,000 a month in revenue, like it's insane, And I'm not saying that every partner should expect those results, but if you're someone who loves what you do, you have the education behind it. It's not like I'm going to do this just to make money. Like you have good intentions behind you, you can really, really have some strong success. So I would encourage everyone to check it out and just see if it's right for them.
Well, thank you. And you're an incredible testament to the partner program and exactly what we want to see out of our partners that we work with. So thank you for joining. Thank you everyone for joining, and a happy Mango Monday, everyone.
Mango Monday. Oh, hey, Emily.
Thanks, everyone.